Hey guys, so I'm here with Welbeck today. Say hello, Welbeck. She's actually very dirty, but you can't see where she's dirty, so I'm not gonna groom her. Yes. So I'm doing a facts about Welbeck video, and I was gonna think of like 30 facts, but then I couldn't really think of any. So I asked you on Instagram, and actually loads of people had loads of questions, so I'm glad I did do that. So for you that don't know, Welbeck is like my main competition horse. We jump up to like 1.35 meters. We do show jumping, and she is 9 years old. I always forget what age they are. So she's 9 years old, she's a chestnut mare, and she's an Irish sport horse, and her head is so big that it's not in frame. Alright, so I will get on to the questions. So the first question is how has she developed in her flat work from when you got her? And her flat work wasn't too bad, like it wasn't. I'll insert some clips of her when I first got her and you can see. Like, she definitely has improved a bit, but like, you know, like I'm not gonna be like, oh, she was so awful and I fixed her because I'm such a good trainer. Like, that isn't what happened. So yeah, no, she was grand and now she is a bit better, but that's it. So yeah. What was she like when you first bought her? So she was just like, she was very hot and I couldn't really ride her. She was definitely kind of like, I definitely wasn't a good enough rider for her, but we kind of learned together, which was good. And she, like, the very first time I ever rode her was at a show, and she like ran out and I like was just completely out of control. Like, she knocked loads of fences because she was just like galloping. It was so embarrassing. And I wasn't even like trying her or anything, like I just was riding her for her owner, and yeah, I was really embarrassed. I'd made such a mess of their horse, but yeah. So she was a good, like, there wasn't anything wrong with her, but I wasn't the best rider. So yeah, probably the biggest difference is me, and she's just also kind of improved with me. How old was Welbeck when you bought her? It was like 3 years ago, so I think she was either 5 or 6, it depends on, I think 5 or 6, yeah. Welbeck, the horses are galloping, she keeps like freaking out. Relax, relax. Would you ever go into eventing with her? Probably not, although she would be, I think she would be a very good eventer. Her sire actually, the majority of his offspring are doing eventing, so he is kind of more an eventing sire, but kind of probably wouldn't, for the simple fact that like I do show jumping and I can't do show jumping and eventing because it's too expensive to like register for both. And what made you buy her over other horses? I didn't really view a lot of horses, so it's not like I viewed loads and I picked her. I got her from the same yard I got my old pony from, and I just like was riding her, and they let me take her on trial for like a month. Like, she was just at my house. They kind of didn't really mind what I did with her because they knew us, so I just had her for ages, and I was like why shouldn't I just buy her? Like, so I just bought her. Would you breed her? And that's actually a really good question, because the plan at the moment is to breed her next year, which is super exciting. The stallion we're planning on breeding her to is Lenahan, and it'll be so exciting. How tall is she? She is actually 16 hands. I thought she was bigger, but I measured her. I bought a measuring stick and measured her, and she's only 16 hands. So she's not that big, but she's quite long in her body compared to Khal, who is also 16 hands, but he seems a lot smaller because he's shorter in his body, not shorter height-wise. Why don't you do more dressage with her? I'm guessing you mean dressage competitions, and again, just because I do show jumping, and I'm not gonna take a weekend off show jumping to do a dressage competition because that's just not what we're doing and not what we're trying to like get better at and achieve. What is her breeding? So her sire is a thoroughbred, actually called Well Chosen, and her dam, I'm not sure what her name is, but she is by Cruising, which is a pretty famous Irish show jumping sire, and probably eventing as well. So yeah, she's like, you can see where she gets the blood from, the thoroughbred, and then maybe the jump from Cruising, I don't know. Yeah, so her breeding is grand. Like, why did you ride her for the first time at a show? because I was riding her for her owners, not to try her to buy her. They were just at a show and they needed someone to ride a horse, and I said yeah, sure, and then I made a balls of it, so it was pretty embarrassing. And then actually the second time I ever rode her was also at a show. I don't know why this always happens with me and Welbeck, but that time was a lot better. How did you find out about her? Again, we knew the owners. We had already bought a pony off them, and they have lots and lots of horses, so they just kind of went, oh, look at this horse. Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. How much was she to buy? Usually I wouldn't answer this question because I don't know, I guess it's kind of a personal question. People don't usually like to answer it, but we actually did a straight swap. I gave them my old pony and they gave me her, like no money, no other money was exchanged, so yeah, it was just very simple, just swapped the ponies, the horses, so it was grand. What's she like on the ground and to ride? Any quirks? So on the ground she's actually very good, she's quite quiet. The only thing is she doesn't like being her saddle being put on, and she's quite girthy, and I have had her completely checked out, so there's nothing wrong with her. She's had the physio, chiropractor, vet, everything. Like, she's gotten a lot better. I think it's kind of just like a mare-ish thing, you know. She is a chestnut mare and they're just a little bit mare-ish, aren't they? But look how cuddly she is. She used to be like really unfriendly and now she's really soft. Oh Jesus, until a fly goes by and you absolutely nearly creel me. Anyway, yes, she's very nice now. And to ride, I find her completely normal, but she is quite hot. Like, I'm just really used to it. So yeah, she's actually quite hot. Was she well established in show jumping when you bought her? She jumped like a few meter show jumping, and that was it. Like, so she wasn't jumping like 130s or whatever. She was only like 6, so she hadn't jumped very high. Hey guys, so I had to do a bit of a are you actually kidding me? I had to move the camera because it was raining and now it stopped raining. I don't know. Did she have a different name before you got her? No, her name was Welbeck. That's the name on her passport. And the yard I got her at just called all the horses by like their passport name or like just their sire or something. How you doing, Welbeck? Hello. So yeah. And because I like kind of knew her way before I actually bought her, like I just knew her as Welbeck, so it would have been weird to change her name. And I don't know where the name Welbeck came out of, like her sire is well chosen, so maybe something to do with that. Would you ever sell or breed from Welbeck? No, I'll never, I very much doubt I will ever sell her unless like situation really changes, or I find like, or if I'm like she's going to waste and I give up horses or something really crazy. What's the highest Welbeck's ever jumped? The highest is 1.55 m. It's as high as our wings go, so that's why I jumped that. Do you plan on jumping her higher courses? Yeah, I really would like to jump her 140. It's just hard with college. I only get to ride her for 3 months of the year, so it's hard to get her fit enough and then get her up to that level in that short amount of time. But maybe someday we will get there. What height was your first ever show with her? I think it was either 90 or a metre. What's the naughtiest thing Welbeck has ever done? She doesn't really do naughty things. Like, if she does something, there's usually a reason, even if the reason is just that, you know, that's Welbeck and that's what she does. The naughtiest thing was probably booking me off when I was riding her tackless, because yeah, that was pretty bold. Although I do understand why, because like she's very sensitive and she doesn't really like being ridden bareback, and I was being very brave riding her bareback with no bridle. I don't know why I was thinking, okay, I was young and dumb. What's your worst fall off Welbeck? It was probably that one, because another question is how many times have you fallen off Welbeck, and I've only think I've fallen off her twice is all. One time was when she booked me off tackless, and the other time was that she reared up and I just fell off and landed on my feet, so that wasn't really a bad fall. If you could change anything about Welbeck, what would it be? I would probably kind of make her less thoroughbredy and more warm-bloody, because like her having so much thoroughbred does have its disadvantages. Like, she likes to go quite flat sometimes, and she doesn't have the best canter, and She's obviously quite hot as well, but at the same time, like, would I actually like to change her? No, because, you know, she's Welbeck and I wouldn't change her for the world. Where did you buy her from? I bought her from Mosstown Stables in Longford. The people there are really nice. They're like so legit, and yeah, they've always been very good to me, and that's why I got Welbeck there. And has she ever competed in the RDS with or without you? No, she has not, and although it would be great if she finally did get to the RDS with me, but we'll see if that happens. What's your biggest achievement been with her as a team? I know. Kind of just like getting to 135 is like a really big achievement, seeing as we did it like completely together, like no one else has ever ridden her. And also we were like leading 1m35 rider in Leinster like last year or the year before, which was pretty cool. Like oh, it was the year before. Like, I wasn't expecting that, so yeah, that was pretty cool. What's your goal with Welbeck? This is like really hard to answer because I'm in college, and like what I'm doing like this year is going to be completely different to the next year and the next year. Like, things are changing so much, so I really don't know like if I'll be in the position to do anything with her. Like at the moment is to breed her. I would love to breed her. I'd love to have a little foal out of Welbeck. It'd be so cute. I would love to jump 140 with her, but like that's kind of as far as the goals go. I'm not really sure, like it's hard to know. So yeah, we'll just play it by ear and see what happens. Does she get along with other horses? Oh, okay, Welbeck. She is grand when she's in the field, but when like she never does anything if a new horse goes out. She's grand with them. She doesn't care. She does not care what another horse does unless there's food involved, and then she can be a little bit bold. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Welbeck. She then gets quite cranky and territorial over her feed, so we just have to be a little bit careful about that if she's being fed in the field, but usually she isn't. What bits do you use? I use a, what's it called, plastic mullen mouth snaffle for flat work, and I use a plastic mullen mouth 3-ring for jumping. Is Welbeck a homebred? No, she's not. How long have you had Welbeck? I have had her, I think, 3.5 years. 3.5 years. What do you think will be the highest you will ever be able to compete on with her? And we're probably thinking 140. If you can go higher, great, but like I would say a 140 course will be her limit. Like, she might be able to jump a few single fences bigger, but again, with a better rider she could probably jump bigger, but with me I'd say it's gonna be 140. We'll see, who knows what the future will bring. And what's her favourite treat? She's not a big treat fan. She's very hit and miss. Actually, Mackey sent me some stud muffins and she actually ate them, which I was really surprised. Would you let a beginner, intermediate or experienced level rider on her? And I would definitely not let a beginner or really an intermediate. Well, I thought she was grand, and then Lauren came and rode her, and Lauren is a very experienced rider, and like she was just very hot and very sensitive, and I was actually surprised by what she was like. I thought she'd be easier and more chill to ride, and she wasn't. So that is it for the video. I hope you kind of enjoyed it and maybe learned a bit about Welbeck, which is really random, but Welbeck is, I think, the star of my channel really. Like, I don't think anyone watches it from me. So yeah, if you have any... Oh wow. Oh wow. That was really attractive. If you have any other video requests, then please let me know in the comments. That's what it's called. And yeah, I will see you next time, and be sure to follow my Instagram, because if I ever ask any questions like this again, then you can ask the questions. Yes. So yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.